Tempo FM.
And this is Rebecca with something a little bit different. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're going to stick with me for the 2 hours, because today is apparently the most likeliest day for people to pull a sickie at work. So that's the theme for today. It's all about pulling sickies, being off ill. Maybe you're just being a bit lazy. But we're going to kick off with, of course, a bit of Dolly Parton and 9 to 5. Dolly Parton there with 9 to 5. Yes, anyone here doing the 9 to 5 slog? I'm certainly not. I mean, that's why I'm on the radio on a Monday morning. I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I have a quite a different job where I work as much as I can, usually on the weekend, because that's when people tend to have birthday parties. So that's my job. But it does mean I'm still busy in the week because it is a self-employed job. So I do try to keep good hours during the week, where I'm always doing something. There's always something to do, because when you're self-employed, you're always, giving yourself things to do. And Monday tends to be quite a manic day, where after the weekend, I'm sorting, fixing, ordering, maintaining, doing all sorts of things and preparing for the next weekend's work. So here we go. I'm going to play Manic Monday by the Bangles, because even though I'm not technically working on a Monday, it's still quite a manic day for me. Let's go. The Bangles there with Manic Monday. Yes, it is Monday, of course. And sometimes it's not always manic, but generally people don't tend to like Mondays. And I think it's because we've obviously just had the weekend, we've had the chance to relax, and then we're back in work and we're back at doing whatever it is we need to do. Obviously, I'm speaking on behalf of you guys. As I say, I work on the weekends, and then I get to relax. No, I don't get to relax. What am I saying? I have to work the rest of the time, but I have to self-motivate myself, which is probably the worst kind of thing. But yeah, so lots and lots of people don't like Mondays. Now, there are, I believe in some countries, some European countries, I'll find the facts for this properly, but they have slightly different working weeks to us, where they work more efficiently, they have more time off, and they just sort of are in generally sort of better working environment, which absolutely sounds fantastic. So of course, but we are not in that situation. Our typical working week here in the UK is Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, or maybe 8 till 4, to help avoid some of that horrible morning rush hour traffic. But certainly the Boomtown Rats know a bit about not liking Mondays. So I'm going to pass you over to them right now.
Tempo FM weather.
Let's get a look-see at what's happening out there. Well, most places will start dry but windy. Apparently there was a beautiful sunrise this morning, which my mum got to see. The afternoon will see blustery, locally heavy showers in the west, with some turning wintry over higher ground. A mixture of bright or sunny spells elsewhere. Possible gales in exposed areas at times. Maximum temperature 7 degrees Celsius. Despite it being 7 degrees Celsius, the wind will add an extra chill factor, so I recommend hat, scarf and gloves. I certainly wish I had some from the car park to the Tempo FM door. Tonight, blustery showers will continue into the evening, and overnight in the west, staying mostly dry but windy away from the Pennines, with some clear spells at times, feeling cold. Minimum temperature 0 degrees Celsius.
Making your workday go faster. This is Tempo FM.
Today. That's right, you might be having a nice lazy day today, as apparently, according to national statistics, the first Monday in February is the day when people are most likely to pull a sickie, and that's what the show is all about today. Those of you who have decided, I just don't want to go into work today, I'm just can't be bothered, or I'm feeling too lazy, or whatever your reason may be, apparently today is the most likeliest day. And I do have a further fact for you. I mentioned before, there was a country, there's just one, that has a 4-day working week. That's right. There is a country that only works for 4 days a week and then has 3 days off, against our 5 days on, 2 days off. And that is the Netherlands. Oh yes, as well as being a beautiful country to live in, they only have a 4-day work week, which is definitely a plus, of course. And the workforce averages around 29 hours a week. But the wages are pretty good. They're pretty good, of course, to compensate. But it means that they have more time to spend with their families. They are sort of mentally more healthy. They're physically healthier. They're sort of calmer. And then when they do go into work, they work more efficiently, which I think there was someone a few years ago who wanted to implement the 4-day working week here in the UK. So I think we'd have worked Mondays and Tuesdays, had Wednesdays off, and then worked Thursdays and Fridays. So we'd have that day in the middle to sort of recuperate and relax. I don't know what happened to that, but I think since we're all sort of set in our Monday to Friday 9 to 5 sort of pattern, that might be a bit of a tricky one to try and implement. Anyway, but whether you are off ill, pulling a sickie, or off work, or just feel like being a bit lazy, maybe you might spend the day, you might be busy doing nothing. That was Busy Doing Nothing, which is by, where did I write it? Fiddler's Dram, according to my mum. That's who it's by, although when I searched for it, I couldn't quite find it. But never mind, it's a lovely song. I've always enjoyed that one. We've actually got that one on a single vinyl at home. We used to listen to it when we were little, which is always quite nice. Anyway, so pulling a sickie day. Of course, you can't just not turn up to work. The point of pulling a sickie day is to, you're pulling a sickie, you're pretending to be sick, or pretending that something is wrong, so that you can then get the day off for whatever reason, and you can then not need to go into work, basically. But there are plenty of excuses online, which are, of course, very silly excuses as to why people have had the day off work. So one reason was, I can't come in today because my flatmates took my door handle off and I can't get out. That's an interesting one. Another one, all of my work clothes are wet, so I can't make it in today. I think they maybe should have washed it a bit earlier. That's a bit of a oversight. Another one, I've managed to secure a parking space outside my house and I can't risk losing it. That's an interesting one as well. But you never know, you might be able to get that later. And a favourite one that my boyfriend came up with was, I can't come in today, my goldfish is drowned. Yeah. Here's Flowers in the Rain by The Move.
This is Tempo FM.
On your mobile, you can send text to 82228, starting your message with the word tempo, followed by a space, and standard network rates apply. You can also email us in at studio@tempofm.co.uk. So, today, it is apparently the most likeliest day for people to pull a sickie at work. And sometimes, of course, people are going to pull sickies all throughout the day. In fact, according to the BBC News business page on the website, 9 million workers pulled sickies in 2009. 9 million. Now, I don't know if that's one person taking 9 million sickie days, or if that's 9 million people all taking 1 day each. I think it's safe to say we weren't all... all those pulling sickies weren't off at the same time, because I think the country might just come to a complete halt if everyone was off at the same. 9 million people were off at the same time. I might just do some calculations and work out how many people on average that is per day that pull a sickie. But sometimes, of course, we might pull a sickie. And it might be because something else happened beforehand, and we think, I can't bother to go in now. So it might be you slept through your alarm. That's an easy one to do. Here's Anne-Marie with Alarm. And I think Anne-Marie promptly ignored the alarm and probably stayed in bed, or she just innocently slept through it. You never know. So I did some mathematics and some workings out. I did actually use a calculator. There's no way I could divide 9 million by buy stuff. So 9 million sickies in 2019. So divide that by 365 days in a year. Then that is, on average, 24,657.5 people pulling sickies a day. If, however, you take into account that the average working week is a 5-day week, then 5-day week over the course of 52 weeks, that's obviously, I'm not going to get really exact about this, but 206, so 9 million divided by 260 days is instead 34,615.4 people pulling a sickie every day. And I imagine, since this is National Sickie Day, there's probably quite a few more people doing that. But anyway, so sometimes, of course, we might decide to pull a sickie because maybe we've had problems getting into work. Like maybe we've been on a train and it's broken down, or maybe the bus or the car has refused to start, or something has just gone wrong and you think, I can't be bothered now, it's too stressful, I'm going to stop and go home. That was Jack Johnson with Breakdown. Now, unfortunately, in some countries, a vehicle breaking down is absolutely no excuse for not going to work. Sometimes it's not even an excuse for being late to work. According to some research online, an average commute can last up to 3 hours in Nigeria. That's right, Nigeria. Nigerians will go to work and it can take up to 6 hours, 3 hours to get there. That's 6 hours total per day of travelling just to get to work. And then when they get there, a typical work day is a full 12 hours. And despite travelling and working for 18 hours a day, they'll only get 1 hour for lunch break. And the reason why commutes are so bad is often due to the catastrophic road conditions with a plethora of potholes, constant traffic jams, and often simply not working very close to living very close to where you work. So yeah, it's not a great situation they sort of have over there. In fact, many countries have got long working days, and they often get into quite a lot of trouble if they end up being late for work. Commuters in Japan only have a 2-hour round trip, but they often cram themselves sardine style onto the trains, and the only time that you apologise to someone is if you stand on their feet. So everyone does. There are pictures of conductors literally shoving people onto trains to try and get as many people on as possible, but they have impeccable timing for their trains, and if a train is ever late, then conductors will go up and down the train and apologise to every passenger personally, and the trains will hand out notes for commuters to hand in to their workplaces if they are made late for work, which I think is just phenomenal. They're just so polite over there. It's amazing. So unfortunately, getting stranded in some cases is not an excuse for not getting to work, because a lot of people will probably say, well, you've got feet. Off you go. Walk on in. You can't be getting stranded like Lutricia McNeil that I'm about to play for you now.
Tempo FM Travel.
Speaking of commuting to work before, so let's have a look-see at what is happening out on the road. Well, it's all looking pretty good, actually. The A1M, nice and clean and green. Tiny bit slow through Boston Spa, but that's just in the centre. That might be anything from buses trying to turn corners, or pedestrian traffic lights going on there. Bit of a red flag popping up on the A58, heavy traffic in the construction area on Wetherby Road. That's near East Keswick. If you're heading towards Bardsey from Collingham, there's a bit of slowness going on there. Otherwise, it's all looking nice and green, nice and free-flowing. Lots of lots of lovely. It's a great time basically to go out and go do a little bit of travelling. Bearing in mind it is also still very windy out there, so we may be getting branches and things getting blown across roads, so do take extra care out in the heavy wind.
Making your workday go faster. This is Tempo FM.
It is indeed, and you are still here with Rebecca doing something a little bit different. I'm on for another hour until 1 o'clock, and today it is National Pull a Sicky Day, where statistically the most likeliest day that where people are going to pull a sickie, and there are quite a few excuses coming on. Of course, some excuses may be genuine, but these ones aren't particularly silly. So here's one: goats got into my garden. That's an unusual one. I'm stuck in the bathroom. Bracket, these pesky doors, close bracket. My mum was hoovering the stairs and I couldn't get past. I don't think these people are really trying to get to work, are they? Or my hamster's poorly. Now, that might be one that you could actually get, could be a genuine excuse to get yourself off work. But it's... I think you should probably, get your hamster to a vet and then still get into work. I mean, that's probably the best thing to do. You still got to try to do these things and get in, because obviously, work is important. And if you pull too many sickies and, you are absent for no good reason quite a lot of times, then your boss does have the right to fire you. Pink with try. Yes, sometimes we just need to get up and just try get into work, because sometimes we just sort of need to a little bit. Well, maybe we need to approach work in a slightly different frame of mind. Maybe there's something a bit different that we need to try, and maybe we need to do it with a happy working song.